week on the Analog Circle podcast, Google Stadia is being sued. God dog, you ain't gonna want to miss that one. That Xbox March event that we heard about, that might not be happening. We got some news on that. We got some alleged brand new news about the Nintendo Switch. Golly, if this is true, woo! Watch out, man. This Nintendo Switch Pro situation, it could get very, very serious. And PlayStation VR 2 has been announced as well. All of these stories can be found here, and we got a stacked show this week in episode 166 of the podcast. God dog it. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Give yourself a doggone round of applause for being here. I appreciate y'all putting up with me every week. Woo! It ain't easy, brothers and sisters. It ain't easy. But I'm sitting up here right now, right? I'm checking out these Halo screenshots that are 4K. I'm over here on Tom's Guide online, and it's saying that the title of this article is New Halo Infinite 4K Screenshots Revealed. Now, this is a killer Xbox Series X exclusive. And I'm going to tell you, I'm scrolling through the screenshots. Woo! It ain't looking bad, y'all. It's looking much, much better than what it was when we first saw it at that E3 show. God dog it. Now, man, before we get started into the show, I want to let you guys know, if you want to be a part of the listener feedback episode coming up later on this week, it'll be recorded on Wednesday. You can do it two different ways. Either call in at 443-216-9934 and let your voice be heard, or email the show. And the email address is the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. It's not too much more to say, guys. Oh, man. You know what? I was about to skip what I've been playing this week. I'm going to let y'all know real quick. I ain't harping on it too long. But I got into that Ghouls and Ghosts Resurrection. God, dog. Man, let me tell you something. Just thinking about that game, I'm sweating. My doggone hands starting to clam up, get sweaty and whatnot. Man, my brow was sweating. That is a hard game. Man, let me tell you something. I told y'all, I play games for fun, not for the challenge. I want to have fun with the games. I don't play the games for it to be hard and me having to beat my fist into the pillow because it's just making me so upset. The only thing about Ghouls and Ghosts that does save it for me, that I will finish it, is you basically got infinite lives, brother, and I need them. I doggone sure need them. I thought my gaming skill level, I thought it had went up a little more since I was, 7, 8 years old. You would think so. Brothers, God dag, I'm sitting up there dying. I put a clip up on the Facebook group, brothers. Hey, man, nah, if it was not for the infinite, man, code pretty much ain't even a code. You just put it on the easiest difficulty as possible, then it'll just let you continue to, die and you respawn where you just died at. Brother, that game wouldn't have been beat. I don't even know if I would have made it off I'd have made it off the first board, but, oh, man, anything after that, brothers, oh, my gosh, nah. No. I thought Cuphead was hard enough. But nah, Ghouls and Ghosts, God, dog. Check it out if you want to bang your head against the wall, or if you're like me and you're just dying infinitely and can continue. You'll get through it, but the game, it wasn't fun. It was just not fun. I'm playing games for fun, not for it to be hard. And even though I'm respawning and being able to start back where I left off at right away, nah, man, it's just, I wasn't feeling it, man. I would give it around a solid 7, I guess. But, oh, man, yeah, just check it out. God, dog, what a downer. That game just, Man, I'm sweating, man. Let me take a drink of water. God dog, hold on, y'all. Doggone, got my pressure up. Anyway, let's go ahead, man, without further ado, and let's get into what we all come here for, and that is the gaming news that went down. So, ironically, I want to get things started underway with Nintendo, and I say ironically because I was saying I think we need better from Nintendo. Well, hey, man, listen up to it. I'm about to tell you, because it's a rumor. The rumors continue about the Nintendo Switch Pro. So according to leakers, the new console will mark a significant improvement over the Switch as far as the performance goes. It's also being said that it will be the first model to support 4K resolution along with NVIDIA's DLSS tech, which can upscale image quality without a loss of frame rate. On a side note, I didn't know what DLSS was until this creative blog article that I read for this story broke it down. Now, a Nintendo leaker, whose name, ironically, is Nate Drake, dog, he took things a little further on the Reset Era forum by saying that the Nintendo Switch Pro would be, quote, this is where it gets interesting, like a PS4 with DLSS and a more capable CPU. End of quote. So basically, if this is true, if this new Switch would have the power of a PS4 in my hands with the 4K screen, man, brothers, you can sign me the heck up. Now, speaking of handheld, it's also being said that the screen will be bigger than the Switch's display, which is also a huge plus. Now, the last two things that are being reported is the name will not be the Nintendo Switch Pro. Instead, it will be called, get this it. Man, I hope this is so true. They are saying it's going to be called the Super Nintendo Switch, and it will release. Now, this is where I'm like, I don't know if this is true, but they're saying it is going to release this year. But as always, when we're walking down Rumor Boulevard, take all of this with a mustard seed of truth. But can you imagine that this thing is being called the Super Nintendo Switch? Man, that Super Nintendo name means something to me. It means a ton to me because it was my favorite Nintendo console up until the Nintendo Switch came out. And just to take that name back, having a console that is as powerful as the PS4, having this DLSS thing that's going on that makes sure that the frame rate doesn't drop and it stays steady, it's no loss of frame rate or image quality. Man, imagine the power of this thing. Feel like Castle Grayskull. I have the power. This would be incredible. Just thinking if Nintendo would take advantage of what a console as powerful as the PlayStation 4, you know, as far as like what their games would be capable of. We could get a real, and I mean, look, I'm not saying I'm the biggest Zelda fan. I'm not, but thinking about seeing Zelda in a different light, more realistic graphics. And I mean, the Switch is capable of doing it right now. Nintendo, they just won't do it for some reason. But just imagining what they could do with Mario, those mod videos that we see of Mario 64 being made in Unreal Engine, that could really be a reality with this console. So, and they were saying that the controllers, the Switch, what do you call them? The Switch controllers, I'm forgetting the name of the doggone controller, but those are going to be more man, not aerodynamic. They ain't gonna be that far gone, but they're gonna be more like a controller, like actually holding a controller in your hand. So I really am hoping that this is true. This would be absolutely incredible. Hopefully Nate Drake, they say he's a respectable inside leaker, so hopefully he knows something. Hopefully these specs are true. And it coming out later on this year, I would love to see it. I mean, the Switch is 4 years old, coming up in March next month, actually tomorrow. It'll be going on 4 years old, and the PS5 is out there. The Xbox Series X and S is already out. So I'm sure Nintendo, even though they're selling like hotcakes, which makes me wonder if this is really going to happen, because realistically, and we've talked about it before, but Nintendo in the position that they're in, they don't have a need to actually come out with another console. But trust me, I would not be against it if we're talking about this console actually being as powerful as a PS4, having that be playable in your hand, a handheld. That would be amazing. Having NVIDIA on board with them as well with this, that's very interesting, because we saw NVIDIA had one of their handhelds at, I don't know if it was CES or if it was E3, one of those shows. It was very powerful. The handheld they had, it kind of seemed like a Switch, not a ripoff, but it looked like it might have been a little inspired by what the Switch was doing. So yeah, very, very interesting with a 4K screen. Golly, we're going to have to keep our hand on the pulse with this one. But let's go ahead, man, and let's move on into the next story. I'm going to try to keep this show to an hour, but I highly doubt that I'm going to be able to do it. So now this next story from DualShockers left me utterly baffled, and I just have to say confused. So according to a report from GameSpark Japan, Sony is asking developers to remove violent depictions in video games. Yes, Sony, once again, is asking developers to remove violent depictions in video games. What the world is going on? And this is coming from President and CEO of CyberConnect 2. His name is Mr. Hiroshi Matsuyama, who states that Sony compelled the developers to make changes in the Naruto Ultimate series. So, okay, check this out. And that's crazy, because Naruto ain't even an M-rated game, but so this is the situation. One of the characters named Minato Namikaze. I'm not familiar with the Naruto universe, so pardon me, Naruto Norians out there that are fans of this. I don't know what I just said, but this character, Minato, was missing an arm in the original story, but in the final version of the game, he had his arm. And Mr. Matsuyama explained the reasoning for this decision was that loss of limbs and characters that have a human appearance was not allowed by Sony Interactive Entertainment. So this is pretty much where the details run out. Now, what's confusing to me is Sony just released two of the most violent games in gaming last year, The Last of Us Part 2, which was brutal, and doggone Ghost of Tsushima, man, I'm cutting off hands. I mean, it is dismemberment going on in that game. So the only thing I could come up with is maybe this is a region thing. But I mean, we don't know what this could mean. I mean, what could this mean for the future titles under the PlayStation umbrella? I mean, can you imagine The Last of Us Part 3? After what we've gotten from the second game, or got from the second game, might have been bad speech on my part, but what we got from that second game, and then you go to not being able to do half of the stuff you were doing in the second game into the third game. I don't know. Like I said, this is utterly baffling to me that for some reason now they don't want violent depictions, in games. So, I mean, this gentleman, he is over in Japan. Maybe it's just for the Japanese market, which would be absolutely insane because, man, anime and all of that stuff over in Japan, a lot of their games weren't even censored. Ours were the ones that were censored at one time. So, I mean, looking at anime, Fist of the North Star, Ninja Scroll, Akira, Riding Bean, countless others. Ghost in a Shell. I was watching all of those, and them things were not cut. They were uncut and raw. And just the fact that this could be the case, possibly over in Japan, maybe here, that Sony is going to start toning down the violence in their games. Oh, man, Sony, don't you do it. Don't you dare do it, brother. We have come a long doggone way, in gaming, and Sony has always been at the forefront. Everybody knows that if it wasn't for Sony, if it wasn't for the PlayStation stepping into gaming, I don't know where the heck we would be dealing with Nintendo. I have no idea. We might have just started getting an M-rated game outside of Mortal Kombat back in the day. I just don't know. Genesis was trying to be a little edgy. Sega, they were trying to do some things here and there. Their Mortal Kombat had blood in it. They had a couple of other games that might have had some, a little bit of violence, but Sony, they just blew it out the water, especially with Resident Evil. That was it. That was it, man. So I just hope that they are not going to be toning down the violence. I don't want to see it. It's M-rated for a reason. I know Grand Theft Auto 5 came under some kind of scrutiny, or people were mad at the game talking about that it increased carjackings, I think in Chicago somewhere. Let me tell you something, brothers. Man. Shout out to Chicago, brothers. Man, that's a rough town right there. That's a rough town. All I know about Chicago is O Block. And I know I'm not supposed to be down there. You know what I mean? So I don't think that Grand Theft Auto 5 has had this spike happening. This is an 8-year-old game. They always want to blame it on gaming and just not on a person. It's M-rated for a reason. I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent. We ain't going to make this hour mark, guys. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next story. Oh, man. So, where am I at in my next story? Okay. Yeah, so we all know that Google Stadia has been going through it. This guy's been, oh, man. What was it? Their developer just released a game. It was broken, and people were joking, saying they just fired the team. Now they can't even fix the game that they just released. So, yeah, they're going through it, man. But it just got a little bit worse because, similar to Sony, there has been a class action lawsuit filed on Google over the capabilities of the Stadia streaming platform. But they aren't the only ones included in this lawsuit. You also have id Software, because Stadia advertised that Doom Eternal would run at 4K 60 frames per second with HDR. But those specs, they were a little misleading. Also, the Android Central article pointed out that Bungie is also in the lawsuit for the performance of Destiny 2 being advertised as running at 4K 60 frames per second, but the final product delivered a resolution around 1080p. Now, the lawsuit is about 42 pages long, and the plaintiff is arguing, oh man, this guy right here, he's arguing that this has caused damages equal to or exceeding the price of Stadia, and he wants restitution. And just on a side note, I brought Sony up because remember back in around 2014, they got sued over Killzone not having the same resolution in multiplayer that they advertised. So Based on that alone, this is crazy, but this guy probably definitely has a case because that didn't work out too well for Sony. And it seems like the same situation is being put on display here, not having the resolution and the frame rate that you advertised it to be on display. Now, this is crazy because that brings up an interesting situation when it comes to this cloud gaming, this streaming with gaming. I mean, how can you really truly advertise exactly what you're getting when it depends on the connection, the internet speed? It's a lot of variables, within this. So I just think right now the structure, I mean, we might have some of the structure together, but I mean, people having a data cap, some people just living in rural areas that don't have the best internet. And believe me, being a truck driver going through some of these smaller towns, yeah, it's definitely real. Not everybody has the same level of internet, so I just think that, jumping the gun right now. I know that Phil Spencer, he was talking on one of their shows earlier this week, I believe, where he was saying that people will start developing with the cloud in mind, and the cloud is going to be a big part and all of this stuff. I get it, man, but just got to probably pump the brakes on that, and I mean, not pump the brakes, but just slow it down a little bit. I mean, I have no doubt that unfortunately, eventually, this is where it's probably where gaming is going to go. As long as I can still get my discs physically, it won't bother me. But I know eventually that's even going to go away. I mean, look at Netflix, look at Disney Plus. I mean, who's really buying Blu-rays and, movies on DVDs and all of that stuff? So I don't know, man. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how this comes out. But, yeah, we'll have to see. But moving on into the next story. Now, this is just a quick update. Notre Dame will not be in the upcoming EA college football game. In the Fox Sports article, it was explained by the university vice president, Jack Swarbrick, that they would not be making an appearance in the game until rules are determined for how student athletes can benefit from their images and likeness. Also, two more actually got added to the list. Tulane University and Northwestern are also opting out of the EA college football game for the same reasons. They want to know what their athletes are going to, what they're going to benefit out of this deal. Are they going to, I guess get compensation for being in the game? So I don't know, EA. It's not looking too good. I know that 3 teams is nowhere near how many, teams are actually in the college divisions, but Notre Dame that's a pretty big name, man. So that's not to say that others won't also not be interested as well. I mean, that's 3 already, and they just started. I mean, we just got the report about this maybe about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 at the most. So that in the early part, the game it just started development. And you already got 3 teams that said no already for the same reason. So how many other teams are going to have the same reason behind why they won't be in the game? So it's going to be a heck of an interesting time to see how many teams actually end up being in the game. We'll have to see, man. Keep a hand on the pulse. So let's move on. We might get out of here on time. We're 24 minutes. But earlier this week, Microsoft had another departure from one of their studios. This time, it was the Initiative. Now, the person leaving is Drew Murray, who said this on Twitter, and I quote, "I guess 10 years, 5 games, and 6 job titles just wasn't enough. I'm excited to be rejoining many friends and former colleagues at Insomniac Games as a principal designer. that takes me to my 7th job title. Now I just need to work some days and make some games, right? End of quote. Now, Drew Murray was with the initiative for, God, dog, this brother was, this brother ain't even warm up the doggone seat. He was there for 2 years working on the Perfect Dark reboot. Now, he was the design director. Now, what's crazy about this is back in early February, he said he was leaving for personal life reasons. Personal life reasons. Now, I Googled what a design director was, and their duties ensure that all products and experiences are delivered on time, on budget, and to the highest standards of quality. In addition to communicating a company's creative vision to design teams and stakeholders, a design director supervises the entire design process and all important decisions. Now, this is the thing. That's a lot on your plate. You have to lead a whole team. You have to make sure that the quality is at its highest standard. You have to make sure that you're hitting your marks. Everything is happening on time. You got to make sure that it's on budget. That's a lot of things that you're controlling. You have to meet with the stakeholders, the design team, make sure that the creative vision is happening the way that they want. A lot of stuff comes along with that. That sounds like a humongous headache, if you're asking me. Now, this is the thing. Now, at Insomniac, he is a principal designer. And that position, it entails a chief person or coordinator of a team of designers working on a designing project. The principal designer must have relevant skills and experience in designing and organizing a team of designers to work cohesively on a particular project. Now, if you listen to that description of what he just signed up for at Insomniac as a principal designer, he's just designing and organizing the team. Just making sure that everybody is working cohesively together versus what he was doing at Microsoft, handling the budget, making sure things are happening on time, making sure that he's meeting with the stakeholders, with the design team, leading the entire design process. Technical decisions are being made by him. Just doing all kinds of things. He's being pulled in 50,000 different directions with this job. So when he said that initially that he was quitting and leaving earlier, where he said that it was because of health reasons. Well, I don't know if he said health reasons, but he said that personal life reasons. I think this brother was about to have a nervous breakdown. I think that the job was too much. I mean, people want to say that the initiative is on fire. It's getting burned down to the ground. This isn't a good look. The initiative is under the water. They're sinking. It's a horrible team. I'm not willing to buy all of that. Listening to what this guy had to deal with at Microsoft versus what he's dealing with going back to a team that he's familiar with over at Insomniac and having the role that he has at Insomniac. I think this dude just needed a mental health break. All of that stress, man, sometimes the money is not worth the stress. And it seems like after 2 years, and this is just my thought. I mean, I could be absolutely wrong, but realistically, it just seems like the position that he had at Microsoft, maybe that was not his strong suit. Not everybody is built to be a boss. Not everybody is built to be a leader. Not at that capacity. where you are being pulled in so many directions, having so many deadlines, having to talk to the team, having to make sure that the quality level is up, having to make sure that you're getting the creative side to the team over to make sure that everybody is on the same page. Man, forget all of that. That's way too much versus him just going there to Insomniac again, organizing a team of designers to work cohesively on a particular project. That is way easier. So for people that think that the initiative is in trouble and all of this and that, I would love to hear from you. I mean, I want you to come by, leave your thoughts, call in, write in, whatever you feel, and let me know if you think that's true. If that's a possibility, that the position that he had at Microsoft could have just been too much for him, could have been overwhelming. And he said, you know what? I'm going to go back home. I'm going to take my ball, go back home where I know I can relax, I can make a living, and I don't have to be under the gun of stress like I was. So anyway, yeah, that's about it for that story. Hopefully, man, I look forward to what Drew Murray continues to do. I know he worked on Sunset Overdrive as well as Resistance and several other games over there at Insomniac, but I don't think he worked on Spider-Man. I don't think he was there for that. So wish him the best. Hopefully he's in a better headspace, a better mental space, and yeah, he'll continue to thrive over there at Insomniac. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into some positive and pretty exciting PlayStation news. Speaking of Insomniac, over on PlayStation Blog, Senior Vice President, Platform Planning and Management Boss, Hideki, no, his name is, I think it is, Hideki Nishono, had this to say, and I quote, he said today, I am pleased to share that our next generation VR system will be coming to PlayStation 5, enabling the ultimate entertainment experience with dramatic leaps in performance and interactivity. Players will feel an even greater sense of presence and become even more immersed in their game worlds once they put on the new headset. Now, he also talked about some of the enhancements we can expect with the PSVR 2. He said the resolution and field of view, as well as the tracking input, would be improved, and that it will connect to the PS5 with one single cord to simplify setup and improve ease of use while enabling a high-fidelity visual experience. Now, I just want to pause there just for a moment. That is amazing. You guys remember the box with the PSVR? Now, speaking of the PSVR, I never took mine out the box. I never did. And that was part of the reason. I saw this box and all of these cables, and I'm like, man, do I really want to deal with that? I'll just hold off, and maybe things will get better. So just the fact that they're going to be able to make it so it is just one single cord to hook up to the PS5 is absolutely incredible. We would have all loved for it to have been wireless. That would have been the ultimate goal, but it seems like if they do another rendition of the PSVR 2, then the next step would be the cord would be cut. So just the fact that they have one cord, I'll take that. That is absolutely great. That is great news. And then on top of that, saying that it'll be a greater sense of presence and become even more immersed in the game worlds, and having the resolution be higher and the field of view being a lot better. This is going to be awesome. Now, whether or not it's going to be 4K resolution with the PSVR, we don't know. I would even say at this moment 1080p would be a big leap over what the PSVR was able to offer. So that, on top of having better tracking as well, it just sounds like it's going to be absolutely awesome, man. So let me finish up, though. He did say some more here. He said, taking the cord to simplify setup and improve ease of use while enabling a high-fidelity visual experience. Now, he talked a little about the controller, where he said one of the innovations we're excited about is our new VR controller, which will incorporate some of the key features found in the DualSense wireless controller, along with a focus on great man, oh man, let me get my speech together. Ergonomics. Oh man, that's a tricky one right there. Ergonomics. Now, he finished off by saying there's still a lot of development underway for our new PSVR system, so it won't be launching in 2021. But we wanted to provide this early update to our fans as the development community has started to work on creating new worlds for you to explore in virtual reality. Now, we did say that they will be sharing more details in the future. Now, if the future means sometime around June, maybe July, summertime, E3 season, I mean, that would be amazing. Or does he mean sometime next year? We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, though, I'm hoping that we see some more on this year. I mean, hey, first off, I gotta clap it up for Sony, man. Making this PSVR 2 is awesome. Having it have all of these improvements, them actually getting rid of the old remote controllers that they have had with the little balls on the top of it, man, that is an improvement alone. And having the new controllers having key features found in the DualSense wireless controller, putting the VR headset on. Now, once again, I haven't experienced the DualSense controller yet. I'm working on it. But just imagining having the VR headset on with the controller doing that kind of magical stuff that I hear the DualSense controller can do. Whoa, that's going to add to the immersion of it. Having a better, more crystal clear field of view, better resolution, better tracking. With this, I'm sure, man, listen, man, I want to guarantee it. I'm a guarantee that some of these games in VR, I can imagine they will be running at 120 frames per second. And I know that the thing was, with VR, they were saying you need that higher frame rate to make sure that you don't, well, not to make sure. I mean, there's still some cases where people still could get sick, but having it at a certain frame rate, it would at least help with the motion sickness with the VR headset. So the fact that the PS5 is so much more capable and stronger than the PS4, that alone right there is another improvement. You know that the frame rate is going to be better, which means that the gaming experience under the PSVR lens or what do you call it, visor is going to be so much better. And I'm so interested in this. One cord to hook up to the PS5. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, let me sign on the dotted line. I will definitely be picking this up. But unlike the PSVR, I'll be opening this. This will get opened. This will get played. I am pumped up about this. I'm glad we had heard about this earlier last year. The PSVR 2 was going to happen. I wasn't sure. I mean, you know, they say these things and sometimes things don't happen. They don't come true. I mean, you look at the numbers and it's like, we don't really want to go that route this time. Let's skip it. But here it is. PSVR 2 announced. Hopefully later on, like I said, man, later on this year. Show us a demo. Show us what the unit looks like. Let us know what it's capable of, Sony. This is fantastic, man. I'm so happy to hear about this. This is awesome. Now, man, let me move on, man, because there was a lot of PlayStation news this week. We got another PlayStation story here, and this isn't a good one, but Gran Turismo 7. Has been delayed. Now, here is what a Sony spokesperson had to say. They said, quote, GT7 has been impacted by COVID-related production challenges and therefore will shift from 2021 to 2022. With the ongoing pandemic, it's a dynamic and changing situation, and some critical aspects of game production have been slowed over the past several months. We'll share more specifics on GT7's release date when I just belched. Pardon me. When available. End of quote. So yeah, GT7, won't be coming out this year. I don't know if we're too, I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm a little shocked. A little taken aback. I was expecting to see GT7 out here this year, but COVID is a real thing, and yeah, got delayed. Not too much to say about that. Let's move on to the next story. So this next story is pure speculation, but Phil Spencer was in his office again, this time speaking at the AI and Gaming Research Summit. That's the thing I was telling y'all about. He was talking about the cloud, and they'll be, designing games with the cloud in mind, all of that stuff. So he was talking at the AI and Gaming Research Summit, and in the background on one of his shelves was a toy of Ludden's, which is the mascot for Kojima Productions, and beside Ludden was a big Xbox logo. So now people believe two things. One, either Death Stranding is coming to PC, or two, and jumping out the window with this one, Microsoft is buying Kojima Productions. And the reason why fans are overanalyzing this is because last year the Series S was on his shelf the whole time. He was being interviewed. So now, this is the thing. Also, thinking about it, wasn't it a Nintendo Switch on Phil's shelf too? I guess Phil is buying Nintendo as well. I don't know, man. It's, Samus and Master Chief about to have a game together, brothers. Because the Nintendo Switch was up there. I mean, it's interesting. And I understand it. The Xbox logo was there. The mascot for the Kojima Productions is there. So, I mean, that Xbox doggone sign was huge. But, man. And I know they have little nuggets. This is what Microsoft is known for. Phil Spencer, the Xbox team. They do little things like this. But I would have to go with, the game is, if anything, is coming to Xbox. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. Xbox only players that don't have a PlayStation 4, man, you are not missing out on a doggone thing when it comes to Death Stranding. That game, oh, man, terrible. Just terrible. I didn't have any fun with it. I didn't understand it. I didn't like the running around and the having to put all of this stuff on your doggone back, having to fight these jokers in hazmats. Man, no. Kojima, you dropped the ball. You doggone dropped it. You fumbled it. It was horrible. I don't even want that on Xbox. Let that stay on PlayStation. That was a horrible game. So, I mean, listen, man, if anything, Phil, have Kojima working on a game for you. If anything, hopefully he'll get the next game right, but that Death Stranding, nah. That was not it. So who knows? Phil Spencer's buying Kojima Productions or doggone Death Stranding coming to the Xbox. I don't know. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on, man. So, let me see what else I got here. And we might make this hour mark because we almost done. So it's speculation that God of War Ragnarok will not be releasing this year. And, to add more fuel to that fire, God of War director Cory Barlog said this, and I quote, Yeah, he says, I don't know who, yeah, this was actually over on Twitter. He says, I don't know who needs to hear this. Certainly not me, since I have never heard of it. But when it's done, with a doggone heart, he put there, trust that it's what's best for everyone. End of quote. So even though he didn't say he was talking about God of War, I'm sure everybody knew that that's who he was talking about. You know, well, not who he was talking about, but what he was talking about was God of War. Yeah, I don't think it's coming out. You know, like he said, basically, when it's done, it'll be released. So, yeah, I don't even think realistically any of us thought God of War was going to be coming out this year. So him saying that, it actually puts a little bit more of a possibility that, yeah, it's not going to happen this year. And who cares? I mean, PlayStation got a lot of games. We saw that doggone State of Play. That State of Play was pretty doggone good. Let me touch on that for a minute. And I mean, my memory is shot. I haven't wrote anything down, but that Odd World, I thought that looked cool. That Sifu or Oof, whatever it was, that beat 'em up game. Oh my goodness. I'm pumped up about that. That little game looks pretty doggone decent. I like that. The Final Fantasy VII upgrades to PS5. Oh man, that's another big one. And oh man, did y'all see the power move? Did you see the power move that Sony did with their March games with PS Plus? They are giving away doggone Final Fantasy VII Remake. It ain't free. You got to pay for the PS Plus, but it's included in the subscription. Golly! Who the world saw that coming? Who the world saw Final Fantasy VII Remake being offered for free is part of PS Plus? They are kicking the crap out of Microsoft. Did y'all see what Microsoft is giving away with games with gold? Did you see it? Did you see it? Man, this is a... Hey, look, Microsoft, look, man, listen. If y'all not trying to offer anything with games with gold and y'all want everybody over on Game Pass, just cancel that mother lover. Just say, look, we can't do it no more. Because what they were giving was bottom of the bin. I mean, this stuff was laying around for years. And here you have PlayStation. Doggone Final Fantasy VII Remake isn't even a year old yet. And it's a big AAA title that they're giving away. They're giving away Odd World for free if you're a PS Plus member, I believe, if my memory serves me correct. That's also a great value. What else did they... Man, they showed a couple of other things at the PlayStation event. Crash. Yeah, Crash is coming over to the PS5. That wasn't bad. I mean... I would have loved to have seen something on Horizon Forbidden West. I would have loved to have seen something on God of War Ragnarok. I wanted to see something on Ratchet and Clank. You know, I was hoping to see something. They didn't show those. It wasn't shocking because it's just a random February show. I know they gotta have at least 2 more shows left, you know, that they're going to be doing this year. So I wasn't expecting the big guns. It would have been absolutely amazing to have seen them. But, you know, overall, I thought the show was a 7. Man, I'm up here belching and all kinds of stuff. Pardon me. But I thought it was about a good 7, maybe even an 8. Wasn't a bad show, man. It was pretty good what they showed. But just for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and speed on up to the next story because I want to keep us at this hour mark. But let's switch back to Xbox because Aaron Greenberg has given us some insight on this rumored Xbox March event when Dual Shockers tweeted out, and I quote, Elden Ring new trailer will likely be shown will likely be showcased on March 23rd at Microsoft's possible event. End of quote. Now, this is where Aaron Greenberg responded to this. I guess he said, oh, man, brother, hold on. He said this, and I quote, just to set expectations. This is not happening. There are always things we have in the works, but nothing coming soon that would feature game announcements or world premieres like this. End of quote. So this could be two things. Either this show, this March rumored show, is not happening, or it is not happening anywhere close to the level of, as Aaron said, having featured game announcements or world premieres that will be happening at this show. So it's one of those two things. If the show does happen, my goodness, you better tone your expectations all the way down to the ground. And that's the messed up thing about it, man. We, as Xbox fans, we have had to tone down expectations for a long, long, long time. And isn't it time in 2021 that Xbox shows you something, shows us something that they are working on? Every time with Xbox, you gotta set expectations. Don't have your expectations so high. Don't think that we're showing this and that and the third. Why? Why? We don't do that for Sony. Every single time Sony hits the stage, we're expecting greatness. But yet with Xbox, it's like, well, you know, we got to keep waiting for the games. Wait till E3 2000. It's ridiculous. Here it is, Aaron Greenberg, and I respect him. I respect it. He's coming out and he's telling the truth. He's setting expectations. But as an Xbox fan, aren't you tired of this? Aren't you tired of having to just keep on taking it and taking it and taking it and waiting and waiting and waiting and nothing is happening? I mean, golly, it gets to the point where you just say, what are you doing? What are you doing over there at the doggone studio? You're about to get Bethesda, a whole publisher. And Aaron, all due respect to you, brother, you're basically saying expectations, keep them low. What? Why? Look, we're at 52 minutes, man. We are at 52 goddamn minutes. I don't know. I just don't know. Hopefully listen, man, if the show isn't even gonna be even remotely great, I'd rather you not have a mother lover. Just cancel it. Don't even have it. Here you are setting expectations like, no. We're not going to have any world premieres. No featured game announcements. What? Wow. That's why, man, God dog it, man. I would tell anybody that, man, listen, man, be a console polygamist. Get all of them. I mean, because when one is slipping and one is not doing it for you, God dog, you got another one to fall back on. Let's move on, man. It's 53 minutes in. Let's go back to Sony, because according to Bloomberg, to a Bloomberg article, Sony Corp they're preparing to open up its PlayStation 5 how did I write this? They're preparing to open up its PlayStation 5 for internal storage upgrades this summer. Adding support for additional drives will be enabled with a firmware update that also unlocks higher cooling fan speeds to ensure the console doesn't overheat. Now, the alleged source asked to not be named because the plans aren't public. So finally, God dog Sony, you're finally getting it together. This summer, they're allegedly going to be making it so you can get some extra storage for your games, a new hard drive. That's fantastic. God dog, how you cooling fan speeds to ensure the console doesn't overheat? Man, oh man, I don't know if that's a red flag or not. God dog. Anyway, the last big thing that happened this week, and I didn't even write this down, but Days Gone and other PS4 games are coming to the PC. Sometime I don't know about this year, but in the future, Jim Ryan, oh, buddy, gotta sting a little bit. It's gotta sting a little bit. PlayStation fans always say, oh, they always were saying there's no need for our games to go to PC. It's not happening, this, that, and the third. Even though we had heard, man, this had to be a year ago. And y'all know my memory is shot. It might have been yesterday. I don't even know. But Jim Ryan, he said that you would be able to play some of their games outside of the PlayStation device. And that made speculation go, God dog, will you be able to play PlayStation games on other platforms? Well, I mean, listen, man, we talk about Microsoft. I talk about them. I talk about them terribly. You know, until they do something amazing. Yeah, I don't like the direction. But I will say this. Sony is the first one to put one of their staple titles onto the Xbox brand. I mean, God dog, MLB The Show. Who thought they would have seen the day for something like that? Sony were the first ones to do it. As much as Microsoft has put their stuff on PC, there's many rumors, as we heard, that they wanted Halo to go over to PlayStation. They didn't do it. PlayStation was the first. They will be the first to do it between those two consoles. So, man, Jim Ryan, oh yeah, this guy definitely has a vision. And I don't think it's in line with a lot of PlayStation fans, what they're thinking. A lot of them are saying, oh, this is okay. I will give Sony credit, though. Gotta give them credit. They do it a little better than Microsoft. And I say that because at least with PlayStation, it ain't day and date. It is not day and daggone date like Xbox does. They are still giving you a reason to own the console, because I'd be doggone if I'm waiting 2 or 3 years to play a game that I really want to play. I am not waiting that long to play Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. You gotta be crazy if you think I'm gonna do that. So at least they are doing it right in that perspective. I wish Microsoft would do the same, but they aren't, because Xbox is PC, PC is Xbox, but PC seems to still get doggone exclusives while Xbox doesn't. PC doesn't have to pay for Xbox Live, but doggone Xbox console gamers do. I got a problem with that. That's BS. Get rid of the guy doggone online paying. If you're going to do one for the other, do it for everybody. If everybody's under the same roof. Xbox. Anyway, that is the end of the doggone gaming news this week. Now, I'm going to tell y'all, man, we got some video game theater coming up. We ain't going to make it on the hour mark, but we ain't going to be too much longer. But on this week's video game theater, we're going to take a trip back to the Order 1886. Well, Galahad, he has discovered what is in the basement. So stay tuned. We will be back after this week's video game theater. After this, stay tuned, guys.
There may be more to this hospital than we suspected. We should keep moving.
Gray, one of us should search the basement.
Agreed. I'll head downstairs.
All right, I'll go this way.
ain't even gonna lie. Galahad was getting beat the heck up in that scene, man. Welcome back. God dog, welcome back. Order 1887, Sony, we need that, man. Ready at Dawn, we need that. Matter of fact, I think they work for Facebook. I'm hoping that rumored alleged sequel that they were talking about for the Order 1886 is true, because that game was so doggone good, man. Please give us a daggone sequel. That game was beautiful. One of my favorite games from last generation by far. Way better than people said it was. I thought it was awesome. Anyway, getting into the question of the week, and we are over an hour, so I'm going to make this quick. Does Xbox need more acquisitions? I mean, we keep on talking, hearing that Xbox is still on the market, trying to get more studios. Listen, they got 343, they got Compulsion, they got Double Fine, they got In Exile, they got Ninja Theory, they got Playground Games, they got the Coalition, they got Obsidian Games, they got Mojang, and now on top of that, they're about to get Bethesda. They already have 23 studios as it stands. Do they need more? No! We haven't seen what the heck. Well, I mean, we saw what 343 was working on. I mean, those screenshots looking a little better, but god dog, man. We don't know what Compulsion has. I mean, Double Fine with the Psychonauts 2, whatever. Hopefully they got something else they're working on. In Exile, I don't know. Ninja Theory, we know what they're working on. Playground Games, we know what they're working on. The Coalition, we don't know what they're working on. Probably another Gears, I'm sure. But hopefully they let those guys branch out. Mojang, they've been working on Minecraft for forever. So I don't know. Obsidian Games, man, listen, man. It gets to the point where, it's 23 studios. They don't need any more. I mean, what, Bethesda, I don't know, man. What's that going to take them up to 30 development studios? I mean, somewhere around there. This is an insane amount. At this point, it seems like I can't even think of a good analogy, but man, just bear with me on this whack one I'm about to come up with now. It's like a person asking for more bullets for a gun at the gun range, and they ain't using the bullets they already got. It's like, man, let me get some more bullets. I gotta reload. It's like, brother, you ain't even shot off the clip you got. Why do you need more bullets? I don't know. It's just gonna look good. No, they need to get these studios, show us what they're working on. Let these guys get to work, do what they're doing. They don't need a Take-Two. They don't need a WB. And I was saying, yeah, that would be awesome. That would be amazing. But I had to take a step back and say, God dog, what have they shown us as it stands right now? They ain't showing us nothing. They get another studio, we're going to have to wait another 25 years to find something out about them. Here this Coalition, been with them for a while. Ninja Theory, we've seen what they've been able to do. I mean, Playground Games, man, come on, man. The Initiative, no. Microsoft needs no more studios, no more acquisitions right now. Work with what you have. They got more than enough to give some amazing games. More than enough. I don't know. What y'all think, man? Listen, if you want to chime in, I mean, god dog, do they need more acquisitions? Does Xbox need more acquisitions? That's the question. Call in at 443-216-9934 if you want to be a part of the conversation, or email the show at the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. I was your host, Kiaun Mitchell, man. Thank y'all for stopping by. Thank y'all for dealing with me. It's truly appreciated. And, yeah, man, before we get out of here, always remember one thing. God dog, it is not about the consoles. It is about the games. Microsoft, where are the games? Man, we're going to be back on Wednesday. Oh, man, but until then, God dog it, man. Man, listen, man, be careful out there. I can't even think of what I say. What I say? Until next time, take care, be safe out, man. Anyway, I'm out of here, man. God darn it.